This episode is sponsored by Black Miss Tuna. Open up a can and lose yourself in the loose fish-like sluice juice. You will be one with the mist at last. These are the films your boy the Film Warlock, or work on the name, saw this year. Goodness, there were a lot. Certainly not all were home runs. I watched a lot of horror movies, and that was fun. I ate barbecue. 2025 was weird. Oh, I'm supposed to say for the ad read, sorry. Goose Up the Sluice with Black Miss Tuna. Co-run by Logan Paul and KSI. What the fuck am I doing? I'm sorry, 2026, y'all. It's a new year. Ugh.
Okay, let's talk about the movies I saw this year in absolutely no particular order. That will be much more fun because I can be cranky about stuff people should be cranky about in the cinematic space. Let's go full movie review here. I'm tier listing all movies in these little mini reviews, but I'm going to use Pac-Man Fruit to show you how good the movie is, because that was funny to me. Gonna take a really big bite on this one. It's like over 8,000 words. Let's just jump into it. What is up first? Let me just check my list. Oh god, oh fuck. This ain't it. This movie starts with a candy bar wrapper getting sucked into a laser cut steel door and the fences in the entire park shut down. If you made a movie called Jurassic Movie in 2002, they wouldn't have had the guts to start a film that cynically absurd. I don't take enough time out of my day to pause in quiet reflection for the absolute disaster the modern Jurassic Park story is. Jurassic World, Unbirth, Expeditiously, Oh I Am So Over Jurassic Park is a tentpole studio vertical, which is gonna be an ugly background theme this year. Cherry, ugh. Tron Ares. I apologize for starting this list with two movies I didn't like at all. I went into Tron 3 thinking 9-inch nails, 9-inch nails, 9-inch nails. What the hell is this? We'll start with what's important. Tron: Legacy, aka Tron the Legacy sequel, aka Tron Legacy, is scored by Daft Punk at the absolute peak of their craft. A soundtrack kinda can make a movie sometimes. Also helps when Joseph Kosinski is the guy putting it all together, who is gravely missing here. I bring this up because not even Trent Reznor could save a movie that has no reason to exist. So the part I was most excited about, to see a wild light cycle movie with a banging soundtrack, didn't even happen. None of these are true. It's mostly Trent farting around on a piano and people going worship blue abo. Lamentable 9-inch ivories. Oh, and if I need to unsell you even more, Jared Leto plays a soulless computer boy, so write your joke at your leisure. I did not care for it much, and the friends that I made watch it now care for me less, so sorry Karen, I hope you enjoyed your nap. The ending was kinda cool though, in a, hey, Tron 1, remember the 80s kinda way. I needed anything, y'all, so this is a tough watch. I give it a strawberry. Moving on to a movie that we should just accept as Tron 3. K-pop Demon Hunters is a breath of wild fresh air while painting by every modern animation number. There was a time when doing CGI animation on the twos would be considered quite fresh. The animation rules here, the songs are so of the moment they might as well have been Let It Go. I really wanted to feel old and out of touch when I watched this, but it was adorable and beautiful. Somewhere between an orange and an apple here makes a fun seasonal cider, which is kind of what this movie is. Next. Springsteen, Deliver Me From Nowhere. A biopic about the album Nebraska by Bruce Springsteen, a film written and directed by Scott Cooper featuring a central performance from Jeremy Allen White that absolutely cooks. I liked it quite a lot in a world where even the term biopic is enough to get me to move on. Pretty generally. Deliver was a great little stew of emotions that Jeremy Allen White simmers with to an emotionally honest exploration of an absolutely historical rock detour. A full meal about the art we literally do not understand or comprehend why we walk down the journey of making. An orange apple. Adulthood. I didn't know what to expect with adulthood. I know Alex Winter today is mostly an extremely good documentarian. This is not only a narrative feature, it's a dark comedy, and it absolutely slaps. Josh Gad and Kaya Scaldelario star as brother and sister who are in a situation way over their head while inheriting a lot of other people's decisions which they must deal with. You know, adulthood. Also, not shockingly, Alex Winter steals every scene in this movie he is in. Easy orange, banger, worth your time if you missed it. Okay, so the next one... The Alto Nights. The Alto Nights is from long-working director Barry Levinson. From Dope Sick to The Natural, he's done it all. Starting with what absolutely works about this movie, it's the story and the look. It presents itself as a classic gangster film, but it is a subtle meditation on the changing nature of friendship as mob life evolves through the 1950s. It's also a really interesting meditation on the nature of people who plead the fifth. It's a clever riff on the Scorsese film. We'll call it the soft Scorsese. What didn't work for me about this movie is the central conceit of the whole thing. Robert De Niro plays both central roles. I'm not sure I ever fell fully into the movie as a result. If this movie simply starred De Niro and Joe Pesci in the central roles, we would still be talking about this movie. I liked it and I found it clever, even if it's a little harder to get into than it should be. Sorry, Frank Costello, find a new scheme. Somewhere between an apple and an orange. Moving on. The Phoenician Scheme. Roman Coppola and Wes Anderson wrote a silly slapstick caper film directed by Anderson, obvi. This absolutely cooks. What director has a streak this long? Another homer? Add it to the rap sheet. The entire cast deserves statues. Michael Cera is especially great in an extremely out there performance, even for him. Great work all around. Wes Anderson is basically operating on a whole different film planet at this point. A fresh voice and a point of view we will always check out. Phoenician Cooks. Full melon. The Home. Up front, I love Pete Davidson for reasons unbeknownst to me, but the entire time I was watching the film, I was thinking about Ashton Kutcher in The Butterfly Effect, a really interesting movie sewn together wrong because the main actor isn't up for the movie. This particular feedback is important here because I liked this movie, a perfectly campy ride through madness. I found this movie cathartic, f***ed up, and dare I say beautiful.
There's something very wrong with this place.
Special call out to longtime character actor Mary Beth Pale for carrying this entire movie on her back. Sorry Pete, I love you, Strawberry. Wick is Pain. This is a beautiful documentary straight from the mouths of the people that put together this silly airsoft movie Once Upon a Time. Nothing beautiful was ever made without sacrifice, a wonderful celebration of the biggest moves in the action genre through the 2010s. Wick is pain, Wick is life. Apple orange. That sentence is going to be really funny in a moment. The ballerina. Okay, this is already so much more negative than I usually am, but here's the Band-Aid. I'm pulling it off. Alas, hard to pick a thing to say first. From the director of Die Hard 4 and the writer of the Rebel Moon duology. They both have made competent stuff outside of these films, but those were the movies I was thinking about when I was watching this one. I could and probably should move on from there, but alas. John Wick 1 changed the game, but talk about forgetting the lessons that work. About the only thing that works about this movie is the work clearly done by the 8711 stunt team on it. This movie manages to make the original quintology worse, but made me want to watch the Continental more? Hey, don't do that. Ballerina is a mess of a reference to a random thing in John Wick 3 about ballerina assassins. Turns out if you scratch too deeply in the thematic symbology pool of John Wick, you end up removing the urgency and weakening the structure of the original films. Whoops. John Wick was so terrifying because of his ability to perform target acquisition while under fire. It's inhuman and demonic how he could weave through a room like a computer monster. A Baba Yaga, if you will. A demon the other demons are cautious of. Well, now that's training the dancers get, so... yeah... Not everything is a film universe that needs such paint-by-the-numbers lore dumps. Not a lot of movies piss me off, practically none. I thought Tron Ares would be my least favorite film this year, but not at all. Swing and a CG-addled miss for me in particular. Not everything is a cinematic universe. Someday all we will have is spin-offs from the world of John Wick. Try more good, half a cherry. Quick glance at our tier list here. It was really important to me to fit all of the logos on one sheet, and I think I've doomed myself. Let's move on. Wish me luck, or write in the comments what a dummy I am. Moving on. Mickey, 17. T and I were both a little late to Bong Joon-ho's latest, but we both found this to be an absolute blast. Sure, nothing can approach the majesty of Parasite, but there was so much to love in this story about the value of a human life, especially in our dumb current future. The visual effects work is nothing short of extraordinary. Robert Pattinson is a force of nature, and I think this is one of those movies that was placed in the soil like a seed. Love for it will grow over time. Revisit Mickey, or definitely first visit it. Orange apple. Okay, arm yourself. It's time for...
Weapon.
I loved Weapons, a movie determined to give you most of the pieces, but not enough to take away its power over you. What are the weapons? Wait, are we the weapon? You'll be thinking about the answer to that question for the rest of your life. An absolutely brilliant follow-up to the already brilliant Barbarian. Zach Krieger is one of the most interesting voices in horror the world has come across in a bit. Weapons is an oddly structured where the hell is this going kind of nightmare. Absolute banger. Amy Madigan carves her wonderful terror face right over the Mount Rushmore of classic film horror characters. In a year devoid of originality in the film space, Weapons cut straight through it. A sort of goofy, earnest look at a collapsing world. Apple melon. Quite the cocktail. Shot on an Arri Alexa around Los Angeles, the directorial debut of Aziz Ansari is a visual wonder to behold. The mundane sparkles in this comedy about how maybe money cures some of your problems. Laugh out loud funny come for Keanu Reeves as a chain-smoking angel.
Could you fly?
My wings are too small.
Not the size of the wing.
Actually, it is.
Oh.
End of sentence. A perfect deconstruction of a buddy comedy and also a really good buddy comedy. A gorgeous little movie like the 90s used to make. Orange Apple. It's good. If I had legs, I'd kick you. There was this moment early in the film where you find yourself begging for a wide shot from Mary Bronstein. She's gonna look down and whisper no. So? No, I've never felt a movie put a weight directly on my chest in quite this way before. An absolute skin peeler of a movie with a central performance by Rose Byrne for the ages. Mother cut gems. Carry on with the bangers. Apple. Sinners.
But did you know?
Sinners is the first large format IMAX film to be shot by a female cinematographer. Autumn Gerald Arkapaw shot this and shot The Last Showgirl as well. Remember that name because she's going to take over the world of film. Just telling you now so you know. This is an all-time film and it looks every frame the part. There aren't enough pretty words, but I'll try my best. What a film. I have 1,000 more words to say on this juke joint, but spoiler alert, I'll have ample time later in this video, so we're just gonna move on. Second, but did you know? Autumn just announced that she will be shooting the Ryan Coogler X-Files reboot, and mostly I'm just happy to report the good parts of the world still work sometimes. Much more on Sinners later. Boom, a monster of a film. Proving how no sense that Pac-Man scoring is, Sinners gets a Galaxian. Frankenstein. Mary Shelley and Guillermo del Toro have immense sympathy for the creation. You could argue that del Toro streamlines the creature's story to be even that much more sympathetic. Possibly the least surprising home run of the year, Guillermo was born to make this excessively gothic version of an exceptionally gothic story. The cast is 11s from top to bottom. If anything, this was one of the films this year that lacked surprise. You knew exactly what you were getting into and still got carried away with it all the same. Del Toro's Frankenstein will grow in appreciation over the years and will absolutely stand the test of time. Just a beautiful and effective telling of the people we make and decide we own. Apple Melon. F1. If Brad Pitt and Joseph Kosinski spend the rest of their lives dropping absolute bangers in the spirit of Tony Scott, we are spoiled beyond measure. Oh, that reminds me, what production company produced it? Oh, yeah, that's the stuff. F1 is a celebration of a bygone cinematic era while relishing in the breakneck evolution of technology in the film space. Nobody has ever made a movie like this. Kosinski makes movies like no one else does. I'll watch whatever he makes at this point. Throw the A-team at him. And a dump truck of cash. F1 rules. A breath of very 1990s fresh air. Or old or stale air. It's a very easy apple.
Do you like tuna fish and corpses? Oops, I mean delicious fish.
So let's talk about the 1960s. Fantastic Four. Looks great, sounds great, is pretty good. Our bar is so low for Marvel that it is hard to tell anymore. I'm glad someone finally made a definitive version of Fantastic Four. It still didn't work with large audiences. Bad Spider-Man always does. That's usable math, Hollywood. Anyway, I'm sure the next one will do fine. Orange. The Electric State. Judging this film as a Judging this as a film, it has a lot of problems and it required more of me than it gave back. Less than the sum of its parts, and one of those parts is Mr. Peanut, who is in phase 14 of brand crash out. I honestly found this movie so wanting I moved right into the Doomsday video. I watched this movie and I was like, I'm doing this. Full pass for me on this one. Shoot movies outside again. Am I the jerk? Full cherry. Leg it out! Thunderbolts. It was fine. A surface level meditation on depression. I forgot this movie came out, honestly. Shot well and acted well. I don't think this movie moved the needle for what it's worth. Bucky deserved more and it's too late now. Here's a strawberry. Just one battle after another. A film about power dynamics, a film that defies easy explanation or categorization. Part political farce, part stoner comedy, part father-daughter road movie, part cinematography miracle. Every performance swings for the fences and pads the score sheet. PTA leads another impossible genre salad tornado of a movie. A Christmas adventure for the ages, lives up to the hype if you are prepared to let a movie paint a world for you. Sean Penn is still capable of creating entirely new horrible men. This film met the moment in a torpedo. Have a melon. Here we are with the second look. It's getting a little crowded, but I think I got this. Also, are you hydrating enough? This is a long video. I'm looking out for you. Predator Badlands. You know, I'm very here for a Dan Trachtenberg Predator joint. This is an extremely fun, borderline impossible romp through the desert. Or the soundstage. Flips every script and still comes out on top as a summer movie banger in a world where that no longer exists. A perfect popcorn action movie if it's not a bit heavy on CGI spectacle. An alien movie about an alien planet and an alien civilization. This shouldn't work on a lot of levels but ends up tap dancing through the IP minefield landscape. Delicious apple. Minecraft. For all of the weirdness that the film managed to put into the world, I must admit that in our screening, the chicken line was so buried that it played like the Let's Roll in United 93. Yes, I apologize for the insane comparison, but it was apt.
Chicken jockey!
From 21st, the mob have just broken open gun store on 3rd Avenue and are arming.
I enjoyed this movie. Not saying I enjoyed it a lot, but I did go in with the expectation of a weird Jared-esque comedy, which probably helps. Jack Black is acting at 1,000 in it, probably 2,000, honestly. If Jack Black was just playing Mr. Beast in this movie, I would probably get it more. What's up, guys? A visual delight with some iffy green screen work from time to time. It's not Napoleon Dynamite, but it is Nacho Libre B movie. Metaphors are for psychopaths. Enjoy. Strawberry, just because I'm feeling fun. The Long Walk. The first film in the Richard Bachman double feature in the 1979 novel The Long Walk. Some of you see where I'm going with this. That this was the first novel Stephen King ever wrote showing up in a movie in 2025 is something that illustrates how little there is to hang on to here. Here's a bunch of people that will get eliminated until there is one left standing. It's not Survivor, you know? Only it's your life. Walk and then it's more walking. AK-47, the movie. Enough emotional weight, but not enough of a story here for me personally. I liked it, but it didn't blow me away. Strawberry Orange. Having said that, The Running Man. And the second of the Richard Bachman novels from the early 1980s about dystopian America that came out in 2025. When I heard that Edgar Wright was directing The Running Man and it was going to be closer to the original Stephen King book, it sounded to me like a surefire bet. That particular alchemy made a lot of sense in my head. Michael Bacall was the screenwriter added to the group on Scott Pilgrim, and I found it very perplexing that the thing this movie is very lacking is character. Having watched it 3 times now, I like it, but I'm still kind of baffled by it. The pitch for this, all the way back when it would have starred Chris Evans, was a more serious adaptation of Stephen King's The Running Man.
Richard Bachman.
Thank you. A book that takes place in the distant, at the time, future, about a guy named Ben fighting on the show against the hunters for money he desperately needs in a dystopia known as 2025. He hates the network that runs everything, and honestly, it feels like he's at a 10 in the Ango meter 24 hours a day. Albeit it should be on the nose because 80s literary satire struck every nose. There are so many characters. I wonder if there's a longer cut out there. I'm grasping at straws, but it does feel like there was another movie shot here maybe, which I think would matter more if the main character didn't spend all of his moments being an aggro to a boatload of world building that is never more than dystopia lip service. This needed more meat on the bone. Orange on my 3rd viewing. Begonia. Content warning. This film is rated content warning. Yeah, my house found this film an absolute corker. We showed it to all of our friends. Exactly from the moment Emma Stone sings the backing vocals to Good Luck Babe. You realize something is amiss. A movie for freaks, but freaks need movies too, okay? I loved it. Lorgos Lanthimos is a singular vision of cinema right now, even if that vision is kind of mean sometimes. Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons are beasts of the screen. Hand them the little guy statues square between an apple and a melon. Hey, if you're curious, do you want to know where my freak limit is?
Bring her back.
This movie left the most lasting trauma on me of any horror movie ever. Yes, I am including Hereditary. Yes, I am including The Exorcist, which I saw when I was 14. I almost bit a hole through the drywall watching Bring Her Back. If that's not a ringing as hell endorsement for a horror movie with your friends, I don't know what is. A diabolically bad good time at the movies. Thinking about it makes my bones vibrate. If you've watched it, you know what scene made me go to therapy. A beautiful, rotten apple. Bravissimo. Spinal Tap 2. This one is an interesting one, and I understand that I can't measure it really how any other movie is measured. I'll just rip this Band-Aid off. This was the first movie I watched when Rob Reiner was killed. Somehow it was even funnier the second time. This movie shouldn't work and it soars. Just take another lap around the track. This movie made me happy at a time when it was pretty difficult to be. A very funny send-off to a great many things. Worth your time, and this could have been a disaster. It just works. Rob Reiner, you will be unbearably missed. Orange Apple. And while we're here celebrating things that need celebrating, I do want to take one moment, and this is weird, but I know people were wondering. Stranger Things Season 5. I know this isn't a movie, but I did a Stranger Things episode of A Deep Love once upon a time, enraptured by this tiny show with a huge heart. 1,000 Earth years later, that show has come to an end, so it felt like an apt time to talk about it. The last few seasons of the show had a few bright spots, but on the whole, and it sounds like quite a few others, found it to be uneven and kind of an off-putting mess for most of it. Had they seen their show, maybe it was an okay idea for a weird one-season illustration of a Stephen King oeuvre, and now we're into this season of forced moments. I'm really not sad to see Stranger Things go. Stories should end, and maybe sometimes faster. I'm relieved it's over. The Prince nod was nice, but we're gasping at straws that are already on fire. Just so we're clear, I never want to watch a character illustrate complex theoretical physics with shit on their table. Number 11, your order is ready. Sad cherry with a strawberry drawn on top of it. Hamnet. Art imitates life, imitates art, imitates life. Look, it's a hall of mirrors. New sentence. Hamnet is a gorgeous, quiet, elegant exploration of grief through time, through the art we make. Grief is as complex as it is ugly. I'm not sure I've seen Shakespeare expressed in quite this way with this energy. It is quite moving. A film that really plays and exists in the narrative holes of William Shakespeare's life. The best kind of historical fiction, though I understand that some people were pretty mad about it. Chloe Zhao directed a slow burn painting. Emotions will burst out of you like fire. It is a tough watch. I haven't been smacked upside the soul with such imaginative imagery and storytelling. A seismic film about loss. Truly, it is how we remember those that are gone. Apple Melon. The Smashing Machine. There is a lot to like here. The Rock has never been better. I doubt there's much of a debate out there. This is a movie that is not subject matter for everyone. It is a biopic about a mostly unsung pioneer in UFC. To be frank, my least favorite Safdie brother movie this year. Kind of an ugly, uncomfortable movie by design, but everyone involved is fantastic. But also probably just not a movie for me. Orange. Moving on. War of the Worlds. Wait, can we go back to The Smashing Machine? A perfect beer and friends bad movie night. A movie that never ever should have seen the light of day, and taking this long to release it with these particular visual effects it's not Neil Breen, but they're at the same awards dinner. A colossal misfire, not an execution because it's terrible, but as a COVID movie with perfectly understandable filming restrictions in place, to release it in 2025 is a move that defies business logic. Jeffrey Bezos. Less a movie, more an after-dark screensaver, just not worth anyone's time. Spoiler, this one did not make the Fave 5. A cherry, if there ever was one. Mountainhead. Oh me, oh my. Jesse Armstrong hit a home run to Saturn with the TV show Succession. It stands to reason that a lot of eyes will probably land on the follow-up film Venture, a satirical black comedy about billionaires squabbling about their morality complexes, making a trolley problem out of everything and declaring themselves the train yard manager. It is good. It does skewer rich idiots who argue everything the world isn't. It was a straight-to HBO release, which is worth mentioning to the billionaires currently skewering Warner Brothers. Got 'em! A fun Saturday orange, I'm not sure to move the needle. Roofman. Here's a sentence from the director of Blue Valentine, The Place Beyond the Pines, and Sound of Metal comes Roofman? Channing Tatum and Kirsten Dunst are electric on screen together in down-to-earth roles. A quirky, fun, great time at the movies. A rom-comedy, if you will. As long as you don't think about the optics of what this guy is doing, it is kind of endearing. Toys R Us makes this easier to deal with, obviously. This is a cute movie. Remember cute movies? The guy that made Blue Valentine made a cute, I don't know, nothing means anything. Orange with a hint of apple. And as you can see on our third look here, it is getting unbelievably crowded in the middle. Part of that is that most movies are just on average, but okay. Marty Supreme. Josh Safdie directs Timothée Chalamet in the role of his career, but you all heard about all this already. And the bravado is justified. It's got Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank in it, and he's good. He goes to the Oscars now. Let me start over. Loosely based on the book about the life of Marty Reisman, Hey, it's The Hustler but Ping Pong. You can tell it's a sports movie because there is no one that Marty will not burn in pursuit of his ping pong goal. Gwyneth Paltrow is great in this movie. Tyler, the Creator, is great in this movie. Penn Jillette is a revelation in this movie. He's Judi Dench in Shakespeare in Love. He's so effective here. Give Penn Jillette his 10-minute Oscar. I said it. Yes, I know the Oscars are over. This episode took a minute. Beautiful long lenses bring us into every space. The way the actual ping pong is shot is extremely effective and very, very cool. Haven't felt this uncomfortable since Uncut Gems. Bravo, Apple Melon. Hit. Style over substance is definitely what's going on here. It's kind of a wild dichotomy, honestly. You were made to feel the effects of professional football head trauma on a cinematic level. What if being the guy cost you being yourself? Which is all pouring dirt on the lead here, the head trauma thing. While being a serviceable experimental way to get the point across, it makes for a difficult film to watch in anything other than an extremely well-lit room with a pair of sunglasses. Also, that won't solve the dialogue problem, which is a problem. Strawberry. Eddington. The true War of the Worlds. Ari Aster returns with a brown paper package labeled 2020 left on the side of the road. Just an ugly, pretty funny garden hose of incredible performances. It doesn't solve any of the problems the United States is dealing with right now, but it is sure shining a black light on them so you can see all the stains. I really enjoyed this tiny small town western. It is a feel-bad movie. Please know that going in. But again, I like feeling shitty and peeling my face off at the movies. That's where the nachos go. Orange Apple. Neja 2. Sequel to smash hit Neja, this Chinese animated film grossed $2.5 billion on a budget of about $80 million. It is fairly steeped in the 16th century Chinese mythology, but T and I found it quite funny and enjoyable. Even if you have to do a little Googling while you watch. Well, in the past I would say to Google, but now some of the visuals are absolutely bananas with an understanding of framing and scale that few films can match. Orange. A milestone in international cinema, just silly and goofy enough to be a DreamWorks film. The Lost Bus. Welcome back, even though you never left, Paul Greengrass. The 2018 story of a campfire that became a wildfire in Paradise, California. Matthew McConaughey is absolutely the thoughtful, feeling action star we all know him to be. A thrilling movie about a very simple tale. I dug this a lot. Check it out on Apple TV if you have not. Pairs best with Modelo. Orange Apple. Not just a goof. I don't know how we can make documentaries anymore. We've done it. We found the center of the human soul, and it is a goofy movie. I'm not sure everything in the Disney catalog backs up their reputation of having a heart of gold. A goofy movie is their 90s animated cult hit, a transcendent film based on a TV cartoon, a troupe if you will. Great documentary, Orange Apple. Final Destination Bloodlines. The best Final Destination movie since the second one, but I'm not sure this film had the same charm that I'm accustomed to in my Final Destination film. Watch it outside with a pitcher of Bacardi and at least 20 of your friends. Pairs best with Trash Can Punch. Strawberry Orange. I Know What You Did Last Summer. I'll keep this one brief. This is the worst Legacy sequel. We found it, we did it. By the time What Are You Waiting For is inevitably quoted as some magic nostalgia road flare, I was most of the way too annoyed. Ugh, ugh, ugh with a side of ugh, and ugh on both your houses pairs best with a rake, half a cherry. Opus. This isn't exactly a movie you haven't seen before, but I really liked it. The cult movie's cult movie. Funny and pretty weird. John Malkovich dines on a 9-course meal of a performance.
What the fuck is this?
Pretty easy orange. Heart Eyes. Josh Rubin, yes, that one, directs this romantic comedy slasher. In a year where multiple directors failed to capture the spirit of the slasher movie or the romantic comedy, this film nails both at the same time while walking a tightrope over a pit of movies that fell off the rope. In this year of pandered drool shotgunned on all of our feeds, remember that the human touch is why we make movies. Orange with a hint of blood.
Impact. Josh.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here now. It's a little light of yelling, Tom Hanks, but I gotta work in my impressions.
Companion. A perfect debut film. Companion is a fun little horror thriller in an age where this type of robotic fiction is becoming a frightening societal norm. A movie asking the questions, do AI have feelings, but in the interesting non-LLM kind of way. This is my favorite since Ex Machina for robots. This one is easy to relate to, and you're relating to someone that's not a human. It's fun. It's fun. Orange. It was just an accident. This is not a simple film, shot without the permission of the Iranian government by someone who was their captive multiple times. Jafar Panahi has crafted a film about dealing with the damage you know someone else has done to you. This is a movie outside of a dumb favorite list that you should see right now if you can. This film is a miracle, not easy to come to terms with the internalized emotions of a journey like this. A co-production of Iran, Luxembourg, and France. A modern reality and a well-deserved melon. Together. A fun little body horror about codependency from writer and director Michael Shanks. A small movie with some incredible body horror effects. What is codependency for just one person? Checkmate. Orange. Caught stealing. The executive producer of your favorite soulless retelling of the American origin story using AI took time out of his busy schedule to direct a movie, and it's good. If you can somehow get over the increasingly strange story of Darren Aronofsky for 2 hours, Caught Stealing is a great time. Austin Butler rules here, the rest of the cast is super game, and how can you go wrong with Punk Matt Smith, Zoe Kravitz, Regina King, D'Onofrio, our boy Matthew Libatique is back on the lens. Great time at the movies if you like jet black crime comedies, which is a trick question because of course you do. Orange Apple. Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. The early Tom Cruise highlight reel is out. Mission Impossible is a franchise that peaked with 3 and 4. I'm sorry, throw your tomatoes. The story of this and Fast and Furious are now both equally incomprehensible. Why does every quirky and weird film franchise have to become the same story? It is absolutely impossible and actually hilarious in hindsight that going forward after Philip Seymour Hoffman wasn't a really obvious handicap that will hang over you like an albatross. They never had a villain again. Either way, this is also kind of sort of second half of an already bloated finale. Sound familiar? I am sad to see Ethan Hunt go, but I am thrilled we can give this one a rest for at least the foreseeable future. They'll Jason Bourne it, they always do. Orange because it looks like a period at the end of a run-on sentence, but it tastes like a strawberry. And a fourth look here, we can tell that I am truly and definitively screwed, but like any good artist, I do not give up and I persevere through that cold dark night. Wait, how many more movies? Oh, 28 years later. I love Alex Garland and I love Danny Boyle. I'm their opening day for anything. It's a really good coming-of-age zombie film about British isolationism. As one half of a strange meditation on what happens to us in the wild, it mostly rips. It's not as good as its sequel for what it's worth. But One thing that metatextually just rubs me coarsely is the use of the iPhone 15 Pro to shoot pretty much the entire film. They say it's to harken back to the Canon XL1 they shot 28 days later on, like shooting a polarized look at society's destruction, doing a collab with Tim Cook. That's pants, man. Next. The Luckiest Man in America. Press Your Luck is a show that was canceled when I gained my kindergarten degree, so we're going way back here. I remember watching reruns as a kid and yelling, "No whammy, no whammy, no whammy," at the screen. It was just the thing we all did in the 80s. It is a deconstruction of a man who reverse engineered a seriously underdesigned game show for financial gain. Oh, and Walton Goggins as a game show host. This was a really fun dive into a strange moment in game show history that became a ghost story producers told each other. The guy that solved a game show. Orange. Death of a Unicorn. First-time director Alex Sharfman assembles a competent movie, but breaking through is hard. Even with the rocket boosters of Paul Rudd and Jenny Ortega, never quite zany enough for its fantastical premise, nor sharp enough for its meditations on class divide. I wanted to love this, but I walked away with a strawberry. The Damned. I said this was a year of strange horror movies, and The Damned absolutely delivered. A slow burn corker co-financed between half of Europe and the US, subtle to such a degree that the scenes that truly go for it will leave their mark on you, I promise. Eels come to mind. Orange. Also, let's keep the creepy thing going. I'm digging this. Wake up, dead man. This one isn't gonna surprise you. I quite loved the new Knives Out. Shocker. Josh O'Connor could be Mr. Fantastic and James Bond in the same year and somehow elevate both franchises, even though Fantastic Four would still miss. It certainly doesn't hurt that Benoit Blanc is back again to thumb through what's left of the Agatha Mary Clarissa Christie plate before taking heaps of Edgar Allan Poe away with him from the buffet to make another stew of structure experiments to play with how we experience the murder mystery. It's all to make you not be able to deconstruct it as it's happening, which is funny because this is the perfect deconstruction of the right now, and done in such a way where you actually have to think about what is happening so you can come to your own, thoughts. Remember thoughts. The armament of the church, pejorative. Josh O'Connor is one of the best characters I've seen on screen in this entire franchise. A small-town Catholic church set mystery. Every gothic tendency is leaned into to brilliant visual effect. Expect more of this one in the future, though not in this video, but ahem, Apple Melon. One last ride. Warfare. This started as a little side project between the military coordinator on the film Civil War, Ray Mendoza, who fought in Iraq. This story is his. He wrote and co-directed this film with Alex Garland. The nicest reading is a fly on the wall in the hellish reality of modern combat. The most cynical read would see this as carrying water for the American military. A movie about war that doesn't spend any time on the machinations that led to it. It is about the sacrifice of the soldier. Your mileage is going to vary based on that framing. It's good. It's fine. Orange. The Naked Gun. I'm pretty sure I'll watch anything Akiva Schaffer directs, considering that Leslie Nielsen was still alive when Hollywood first started trying to reboot this. That this ever happened is kind of a miracle at all. Enter Seth MacFarlane, who stayed on as producer here that moves the wheels of an immovable industry. I'm not sure anyone has made a comedy even in this ballpark for decades, let alone the entire death of the spoof genre. Scary Movie 6 doesn't count. What truly works about this film is how little it relies on dumb referential humor. Scary Movie 6 doesn't count. Perfectly human-made stupidity. A gold medal for you, Keeve. I'm a fan. Orange Apple. The Accountant 2. I am on the record being wild about The Accountant, the first film. Not about the practice. I find it interesting and the performance is quite moving. I fell down this hole because I was absolutely nuts about Warrior, the only good MMA film. Both are directed by Gavin O'Connor, who last directed The Way Back with Affleck, a phenomenal feel-bad movie. I had pretty high expectations. The Accountant 2, practically a legacy sequel at this point, which was first announced in 2017. Yeah, the before times, it might take a second to remember what that was like. This started gestation in a different world. I related to the first movie being about this guy who cannot make sense of the world. He can make sense of numbers and murder, but he can't make sense of people. I found that relatable. The sequel is a bit more of a buddy action movie, which works. I don't know why it works, but it does in a softer action landscape. Solid orange and some good performances. Friendship. Hard to define which is the Tim Robinson comfort zone. Andrew DeYoung, who directed lots of great episodes for Our Flag Means Death and The Chair Company. This is a one-off cringecopia lingering in the toxic bromance. Having Tim being joined by Paul Rudd here gives this film a familiarity that makes the absurd hit that much harder. Orange Apple. This one sits nicely on the shelf of Tim Robinson cringe art pieces. Next up, Rental Family. Directed by Hikari, Rental Family is an ideal role for Brendan Fraser, a has-been American actor living abroad in Japan who gets work by filling in for roles in families, like a play to grieve. I think it's impossible not to love this movie. It is culturally out of every American's wheelhouse, but endearing all the same. Curl up on the couch and grow as a person. Tasty, crisp apple. Black Bag. Hey, Do This is a double feature with The Naked Gun. Actually, hang on, that will probably slap. Invite the neighborhood. Okay, so Soderbergh wanted to go peak Soderbergh, so we teamed up with David Koepp to tell a twisty-turny dialogue marriage simulator. That sentence got away from me. I would watch the stage play on Broadway. Dinner Party, the murder movie. Nailed it, orange. Bone Lake. Stop, it's not funny, stop laughing. That's the name of the lake. It's Bone Lake. No, this movie is titled perfectly. A 1990s psychosexual thriller. Okay, it is Bone Lake. A real verbo attraction, a Airbnb instinct. I found the slow pace at a state-of-the-art lake house to be a subtly creepy setting for a modern thriller. The new meets the old, meets the bone. Good time, orange. Jay Kelly. Liked but not loved. Noah Baumbach helps George Clooney do a "This Is Your Life." Adam Sandler is the gemstone in this film. Watch this as a movie called
This Is My Life.
Starring Adam Sandler in it. Slaps. Worth seeing for a trip down memory lane of a world that used to exist. Strawberry Orange. Speaking of a world that used to exist, Ash. A movie and a kind of a long year of stuff you've seen before. This sci-fi thriller did not do much for me. Aaron Paul is pretty good. Strawberry Orange. Dust Bunny. Okay, this one had me at Mads Mikkelsen reteams with his Hannibal showrunner BFF Brian Fuller on a fantasy action spectacular. It's basically Leon the professional, but the young girl is hiring the hitman to kill the monster under her bed. 1,000 out of 10 for ideas. Also, the monster under her bed killed her whole family. It is Leon. It is the same. This is the first time Fuller has directed a film, and it slapped. A super quirky movie you can watch with anyone in your family. Like, it sounds dark, but it's actually brilliant and beautiful. I thought this was absolutely great. Orange Apple. Woman in the Yard. Oh, A rare little Blumhouse horror movie on the list. Didn't see that one coming. This is about a lady who sits in a chair in the yard. I saw the ad for this 4,000 times on Hulu, and me and T made fun of it every time. We're like, oh no, the woman in the chair. This one isn't more than the sum of its parts and doesn't do much of anything new. Didn't love it, but a perfectly serviceable middle of the afternoon kind of horror movie. Watch it on a Sunday with ice cream. Superman. Yeah, you can actually just see there's a whole video essay just right there. Orange Apple. The Gorge. This was, ironically, the first movie I watched this year. Debuting on Apple TV in January, The Gorge is a movie that never really congealed for me, specifically. The Gorge is the B-est B movie you're likely to see. A pair of super snipers from different countries must guard the demon pit, but don't fall in love. Oh shit, oh no, oh, we fell, oh. That's them kissing. From 2,000 yards away. If I've had one pet peeve of the big fail 2020s, it's digital smoke and cheeseball green screen. Stop it. It pulls you out. You never even get the opportunity to be in the movie. A movie about two people going outside around a hole that never feels like that at all. And considering how much of this movie was shot practically, it was never a place I was truly in. Even if they were, this never came together in my mind, so The Gorge is a strawberry. Honey, don't.
Hector? Not in the sacristy.
Lesbian neo-noir set in Bakersfield, California, starring Margaret Qualley and Aubrey Plaza. Oh, and a Coen brother directed it. This is a polarizing movie, but everyone in the cast is tense. Kind of not all of it works to me. But if any of these sentences piqued your interest, I think you might build this movie into your personality. It rules on enough levels, you should see it at least once and see if it moves you in some way. Orange. VHS Halloween. The 8th VHS movie. You know, if this particular horror series is for you or not by this point, a good friends and food or drinks kind of movie, it gives you 5 sort of nuts little anthology sort films, so if you have a really short attention span, this is for you. Fun and easy to like because it's good for the VHS franchise. Orange. Freaky Tales. Speaking of anthologies that vibe, set in a single night in Oakland in 1987, this is a pretty good movie that mostly fits together, but it looks like a movie that costs twice as much. An easy little bunch of stories to enjoy. Fun little orange. Slice of life, the American dream, and former Pizza Huts. Title of the year. Sorry everyone else that titled the movie this year. This is an absolutely beautiful, touching documentary about small victories born from lost dreams. I'm bearing the lead. This is a tiny film following a few specific old Pizza Hut buildings renovated into new spaces. One of them is an LGBTQ-friendly church. It also explores the creation and magical 1990s the Pizza Hut had. You had to be there. There is no way to begin to describe the Book It program where, like, all of these kids in class would run into each other at the dine-in Pizza Huts. Which is all to say, this hit me squarely in the Pizza Hut 90s nostalgia and really made me feel all rubbery, buttery smooth about these spaces that really, truly meant something to these neighborhoods. And now they've been repurposed into new life without ever veering away from the very clear signs that this is a Pizza Hut, or used to be. A tiny little film that will lift your spirits above the clouds. No stakes. Orange Apple. Getaway. A tiny dark-ass comedy written by Nick Frost. Yeah, Hagrid, you know. Feels a bit slow to set up, but it definitely knows where it is going. It was supposed to be a nice little family getaway. A movie I know very few of you saw, so consider this my recommendation to rent it and support weird indie stuff. Orange. Until Dawn. The last of the, sure, it's a horror movie, why not movies? We were 100% not familiar with the game. I know that's going to come as a shock to some of you. This is by no means a good movie, but it is a serviceable Friday night with my date Redbox and a bottle of Sauvignon Blanc. It was fine. A bad horror movie that if you don't come in with expectations, you might sort of enjoy. I mean that, like, if you don't know anything about the game, you might find this passable. It's pretty rough, strawberry with a hint of cherry. Whoa! USA! We did it! Yes, yes, yes! Get down and shit! I still have to do the Fave 5. Oh, should I, do like one of those existential breakdown things? Yeah, and then make my voice all weird,
Yeah. And then make it almost like this entire video was a trap to everyone who clicked it. Perhaps I've sprung a trap. Ha ha ha, jokes. Welcome to the favorite aspect of the show. It doesn't have anything to do with the previous rankings. I wanted to dress up one of my friends and walk down a beach. Anyway, presented in no particular order by Black Miss Tuna. Sluice the juice, baby. These are my favorite 5. These are not based on the rankings of the previous section. I apologize for basically making 2 videos, but that's what it is. Number 1. Sinners.
There's a film term for how celluloid doesn't react to light and darkness with the same clarity. There is less color and grain detail in film in the darker parts of the frame, just kind of how film works. The term for this general underexposure is crushed blacks, especially when you stylistically lean into it. Writing this term down on paper really illustrated to me the number of levels a film can exist on. Sinners is a world mover. The world of film is now different, and Ryan Coogler punched a righteous hole in the industry to bring us to this new world. Sinners is a masterpiece about crushed blacks in the Jim Crow South. The film that defines the 2020s as far as I am concerned. A film that somehow manages to span the act of musical expression in our reality. Who didn't do career-defining work on this? Ludwig Göransson somehow continues to find new soundscape universes to allow us to bask in. Michael B. Jordan plays 2 roles that are not only distinct from one another, their dichotomy carries this movie over mountains. A film about empty promises and bad men. Also, Irish folk dancing. Look, it's a lot of stuff that is equally mesmerizing and troubling. The scene where they musically pierce the veil is a cinema masterwork. To me, Sinners led an extremely strong year of film. It's okay to let humans run their own in-demand businesses, you arrogant clods. Pretty relevant, this one. Just when I think I'm out, you pull me back in. Good luck defining the world of cinema in the 2020s any more than
one battle after another.
Paul Thomas Anderson movies have this particular ability to spark the national zeitgeist with the right movie. Let's say too often for comfort. Boogie Nights was the bottom of the hill. He always does it with character. There Will Be Blood was the Trojan horse. Welcome to the Resistance, the French 75. Also, it's a delightfully old school little gin cocktail if you're hip. A movie kind of about finding the movie while you're shooting it. A movie tailor-made to piss off the people who think unrestrained government overreach is chill, brah. Satire smoked out of a shotgun. Pervidia Beverly Hills and Colonel Lockjaw are two whispering specters in a family on the brink. A bespoke time bomb. Every performance is career peak. Yes, especially Leo. What an absolute triumph of cinematography, sound design, and performance. The highway chase at the end is such a 1970s cinema roller coaster. Bullet and Chong. I'll see myself out, but you know I'm right. Okay, full spoilers on this one. Fast forward to here to miss them. I really need to talk about this movie. Okay, we're in the adult zone. I find this film a somewhat loose adaptation of a 2003 Korean film, Save the Green Planet, a movie where every nutty conspiracy the nut jobs have is totally true. They live on a flat Earth, surrounded by a giant ice wall under a giant dome. Aliens have infiltrated our society, and it is up to true patriots to uncover the truth. I said that wrong. Now, it is up to true patriots to uncover the truth. T and I both remarked when we were watching this at home that when Emma Stone's character is singing the backup parts to Good Luck Babe in the car every single day, no joke, we both looked at each other and we were like, alien. She's an alien. So our viewing experience was probably different from other people's. But to be fair, when Teddy and his cousin are dipping their taquitos in ketchup,
we also thought they were aliens.
So really, we watched this movie thinking it was a movie about aliens, which I think is very funny. Seeing no one as a human made this movie incredibly fun to watch. I've heard the mileage varied on this one, but I absolutely adored this sadistic commentary on the fragility of the human being this horrible decade. Some of us are probably making it out of the people that scream all the time about how they're going to save humanity by getting rid of the aliens are the people that doom humanity. This isn't a movie review, this is pointing out this film as feedback. Every time they cut to outside of Earth, it is a flat Earth surrounded by an ice wall. Everything the kooky conspiracy guy says is basically always true in this movie. Also, conspiracy boys, they're making fun of you. The state of America as reflected by Yorgos. We yell at the mirror in frustration, but we cannot get a word in edgewise. I haven't stopped thinking about this movie since I saw it. Carve Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons' faces onto the side of a mountain. Outrageous brilliance. Love this film. I adore any movie that tries to make me laugh so hard that I'm crying while simultaneously screaming. We call it scrying, and Zach Krieger invented it. This film, I knew nothing about other than a missing class and what a ride it continues to take me on to this day. I make every friend I have watch Weapons. A horror movie with aspirations to get you crawling up the walls, sometimes while laughing uncontrollably. Amy Madigan takes in the scope of the film, a fairly small part and blows it up basically onto the side of the moon. I'll be thinking about Gladys for the rest of my life.
I'll be thinking about Gladys for the rest of your life.
I applaud Krieger for the structure here, always jumping between characters right as we unlock a new piece of invaluable information. It really does sort of keep this movie from having a main character, or at least until you realize that Alex is the main character. Spoilers! Never allowing an audience any ounce of comfort or safety, really up until the end where the movie lands a setup with hilarious, riveting perfection. Gladys's run across the neighborhood is top 10 cinema, period. Weapons is just utterly, unflinchingly weird from top to bottom while maintaining a beauty and a heart most movies would balk at portraying. This is a movie where every character grabs a hold of the bad decision dice and they're throwing bones every time something horrible happens. I asked before, so I'll say again.
Are we the weapons? Hamnet.
I actually put this on the list and took it off a number of times. Sam Mendes and Steven Spielberg both found the novel and wanted to direct this film. It is Spielberg that originally suggests Chloe Zhao, I assume coming off the mammoth win for Nomadland. They both stay on as producers here for a masterpiece of expression. We need the life of the world around us to repair us from the unthinkable. You feel every emotion as if it is fired out of a cannon. There are two incredibly impressive magic tricks about Hamnet. It manages to add texture to Hamlet that no text really ever has, which fits quite neatly into the existing historical timeline in some existing holes. And also that the words Hamnet and Hamlet are interchangeable names, so Hamlet is like performance art levels of working shit out. Really, it's a movie about marriage, or probably that Billy Shakes escaped into his expression instead of his partnership. There's probably a subtext about William Shakespeare not being so great at the marriage thing here. This movie is a beautiful wound about how the inherent beauty of the world and nature will help you heal. Cinema is about magic tricks, and Hamnet just got a residency at Caesars. I adore a film that can put a spell on me in a beautiful way. I was entranced by Jessie Buckley in this film.
And with those last beautiful words about Chloe Zhao, I too become one with the sea again. Until next year. Release yourself into the mist, my child. This is it.